Do any of you know the extent of seagrass beds in the Mediterranean or kelp forests in the Atlantic? EMODnet Seabed Habitats has been trying to answer those questions for you. My name is Helen Lillis and I am the coordinator of this project, and I hope to demonstrate to you the value of compiling and standardising seabed habitat data in Europe so that it can be queried and combined to answer various different questions. So far, we have compiled nearly 500,000 point observations of seabed habitats from survey techniques such as grab sampling, video tows, photographs, and nearly 1,000 habitat maps from individual surveys, which has used a combination of acoustic methods, in situ observations, and they have all been classified according to a small number of standard classification systems, such as the European Standard Classification System called UNIS. If we zoom in on an area in France, we can see the range of resolutions of these habitat maps, and sometimes they overlap, sometimes they disagree, sometimes they agree, but they all have a standard attribute table behind them, and they're all classified to this standard European scheme, UNIS. And this provides us with the ability to combine the information into a single data set if we wanted to, and we can query it in different ways. I'll show you an example now of how we've built a product showing the extent of macroalgal canopy cover in Europe, which is an essential ocean variable. Here's one example of a single habitat map from a survey classified to UNIS. Within it, there are multiple different habitats observed, and we can filter it. One of these habitats is a 3.22 kelp and seaweed communities on tide-swept sheltered conditions. But it's also got kelp and seaweed communities on sublittoral sediment. If we have a list of the habitat types that make up macroalgal canopy, then we can pull them all out of the habitat map and all of the other habitat maps, and then stick the polygons together into a single map. This is the latest version of this map. We've done the same querying for the points database, and this shows the current data on this habitat. There is an extra step that we do once we've combined the polygons, which is to remove overlaps. We do that using a confidence assessment score for each polygon. And this, by removing overlaps, we're able to calculate an area. You can see we have some polygons on the left in areas where we don't have points on the right, and vice versa. And this is an issue of data completeness. Other questions we've asked: what is the extent of live hard coral cover? Also an essential ocean variable. This one is particularly difficult to map the extent of. It occurs in deep waters where the resolution of acoustic data is lower. And so using the points, we can get a much better idea of the distribution of the habitat. And the third essential ocean variable that is a seabed habitat type is seagrass cover. And this shows our current best knowledge of the extent in polygons and the distribution in points. We've recently produced a new product of coralligenous and other calcareous bioconcretions in the Mediterranean and biogenic substrates in the whole of Europe. And that includes bivalve reefs, cold water coral reefs, seagrass beds in the Mediterranean, worm reefs and coralligenous platforms too. If any of this has piqued your interest, then do go and have a look on our website. You can find all the data there freely available at emodnet-seabedhabitats.eu. The data is available by web services, direct download, and to browse on our interactive map. there's a section on the interactive map called Composite Data Products, and there you will find all the layers that I've introduced to you today. In the attribute table of these data sets, you'll find unique identifiers for all of the source data sets, and using those you can link back to the metadata catalogue that we also host to find out the source of all the information. The next steps for us are to assess user requirements for further updates to these products or to build new products. We're only going to build them if we think they're going to be useful and used. We will continue to build the evidence base that sits underneath these composite products. We're going to compile more habitat maps and more point observations that we've discovered or requested or produced in the meantime. And that will involve standardizing the attribute table, standardizing the classification systems, conducting confidence assessments and writing metadata, and uploading it all to our website. And then we will update these products by rerunning the R scripts that we've written to produce them. Thank you for listening, and I hope I've demonstrated the value of compiling, standardizing and publishing seabed habitat data. If you have any questions at all, I'll be there at the Q&A session, and also happy to answer any questions via email.